So we ready?
Yes.
Okay, hi everybody. Hi. I'm Suzette. I'm the founder and executive director of this place. And I'm just so glad you could all join us today because we're going to be talking about some things that are really close to my heart. The first thing I want to call your attention to is, first I'm going to make some general announcements, then we're going to split folks off, and then we're going to, everybody has to go to 3 presentations to get your CEU, okay? Some of you will start off with Alicia, and Alicia and Katie are each going to be doing a 15-minute presentation, and then you're gonna switch. I'm giving a half an hour presentation because I never shut up, so I'm just gonna keep going. All right, so a couple of things. This is BPD Awareness Month, Borderline Personality Awareness Month, and DBT, as you know, is an evidence-based treatment for borderline personality disorder and other regulations of, just mindful moment here, and emotional regulation disorders. Okay, so we host, in conjunction with NEA BPD, which is the National Education Alliance for Borderline Personality Disorder, a group called Family Connections. We donate our time to do this. And if you have any family members, Sam's Place does it too, over at Clearview, if you have folks on the west side, and if you have any family members, folks that you see in your practice that have loved ones who have borderline personality disorder or have a severe emotional dysregulation, they can go to the NEA BPD website and get signed up for this class. And it's kind of a grassroots class. Generally, it's led by parent partners who have been through the class themselves and been specially trained. But there are brochures out there. Sometimes clinicians, Bree, who's out there somewhere, who you'll meet, and I now host Family Connections here with our parent partner, Lisa Jones, and it's a wonderful experience. If you would like to get inspired by the courage and strength of some amazing people who are very worried about their loved ones, but who are hanging in anyway, get involved with NEA BPD. They're awesome. Okay, the other reason you're here is our IOP. We're hoping a DBT IOP in June. Okay, there are no referrals, and so I want to just thank you all for being here. Really appreciate any referrals, any just getting our name out there, letting people know we exist so we can make this program work. What else did I want to say? Okay, we still offer outpatient DBT for adolescents and adults, and CBT for all, except for little tiny babies, okay? And I hope you're all getting to know one another. This is how we provide great treatment for our clients, is by getting to know other providers who might be better suited. We all have areas of specialization. We all have things that we do super well, and we can share that knowledge. In light of that, there is a sign-up sheet over by the CEU sign-up sheet. We're going to be hosting more and more informal networking events here. If you have any interest in doing that, sign up. Give us days and times that might work best for you, and just come and hang out with us and some other clinicians for some coffee. Now, more formal networking is GAMPA, Glendale Area Mental Health Professionals Association. I'm on the board there. I'm one of the newsletter editors. And it is a fabulous organization. It's multidisciplinary. It has psychiatrists, psychologists, LCSWs, MFTs, clinical outreach people, lawyers even, licensed professional counselors. It's a great way to get to know other people who don't do exactly what you do, because we tend to ghettoize and go in packs in this world, right? And all the MFTs hang out together, and all the LCSWs hang out together, but we all need to know each other. And there's a great flyer for GAMPA out there, and I really want to encourage you to come to a networking event and join us. It's a fun group.
And don't you put out the group list as well?
Yes, Jim DeSantis. Yeah. Jim DeSantis is the founder. Oh, the other thing about GAMPA, we're going to take over the San Fernando Valley. We're expanding. So if you're in the San Fernando Valley, okay, I know, world domination. Okay. So what else do I want to tell y'all? Okay. I want to introduce you to the team. Okay.
They all stopped talking.
Sit down for a minute. Okay. our awesome team. Raul, you count too.
Oh,
there you are. Somebody else was wearing a white shirt and jeans. I can't see. Okay, so this is our amazing team. Our clinical team is led by Katie Carlson. She's our lead clinician. She's been here almost since the beginning. I don't know what I'd do without her. Please, nobody poach her, because she's amazing. And she's my rock. And she's calm where I'm excitable. And anyway. I love you. And I also love you guys too. And this is Alicia Starks. Alicia is also, in addition to DBT, she's a MAP trainer. She does all, wait, don't let me misrepresent you.
I am MAP trained, but I'm also certified in restoration therapy, and I do some clinical training on the side.
And also, what Alicia also does is that we give her the little kids. Because with that MAP training, she knows how to identify where to refer, what to do, what to address. And we've got Jenny. Jenny is one of our interns, and she's awesome. Not but an intern, but she's awesome. She's an intern, and she's awesome. And Jenny's area of special interest, other than DBT, is DBT and substance abuse. Okay, there is a program out there. There is a protocol out there. It's great for folks who have substance abuse issues and borderline personality disorder. So, yay, Jenny. And Bree is our IOP expert. Bree is also, you ran an IOP single-handedly as a brand new raw fresh intern. You are an expert. Okay, she's also very, very modest. So Bree has joined us recently. She's doing great. She's doing a lot of advising on the IOP to make sure that we get things done well. And Monica is our clinical outreach genius. And you all know her. She's kind of whipping us into shape. We push things on social media now. Sometimes we've been pushing on social because we know social media so well we don't even have to say media at the end anymore because we're just that cool. So we tweet and so on. So like us on Facebook.
Email me.
And back behind us is Raul. Raul is everything that has to do with graphic design, website design, tech, everything like that. He has really whipped us into shape, and he's available for hire. And he's ridiculously easy to work with. That's all I can say. So, I think that, just one more thing. When we talked about doing this presentation, one of the things we all talked about as a team is we said, I don't want to do just another boring DBT skills presentation, really. Yeah, mindfulness, the 4 modules. I'll be going over that, don't get me wrong. But we're seasoned DBT skills trainers, and we wanted to kind of, and if you go to any place where people teach DBT skills out over time, while still remaining in the model, you can do all kinds of cool stuff within the model. And we all have pet projects, pet topics within DBT. So we said we didn't want to do just another skills training presentation. We wanted something that even if Marsha Linehan walked in, maybe she'd get something out of it. Oh, that would folks from Seattle are coming to get me. Okay. But that, a little unique twist that we put on it, right? We also wanted to have that so that non-DBT folks would walk out and go, oh, you know what? I can apply that. And even non-clinicians could walk out and say, oh, that I could do something with that. So what we're going to do now is, you have to attend 3 presentations to get your CEU. You'll be 15 minutes with Katie and Alicia each. You'll switch. They'll make that happen somehow. And then half an hour with me. So some of you will start with me. So do you guys want to decide who goes with who? Or this is kind of like picking baseball teams
It's like
in
volunteer.
I'm in.
All right.
If we split it, how many are we?
Monica, how many folks do we have total?
We got 4 out here. 5, 6, 7, 8. How many do you want to do in each room?
I think each room can have like
I think we're good now, right? Is that good?
But there's
Should we have a group out here?
I think you're.
I'm having feelings of abandonment.
Yeah, thank you.
one of the main diagnostic criteria for BPD.
So I need a group to
It's
go all the
okay,
way
it's
back.
frustrating but fixable. We're here for you.
Thank you.
That's all I know.
I would say follow.
We need about 5 in each room, 5 or 6 in each room.
I'll take you to the
Okay.
Now, who's coming with me and helping me with timing and saying, shut up, Suzette, it's been a half an hour.
Too much coffee.
Awesome.
Okay.
I can do that if you need me to.
That would be beautiful. Everybody, tell me when to shut up. It's a good thing.
I'll probably find a nicer way to
so
say it.
sorry.
Do you want me
And
to
it-
play some music?
Yes.
Play you up?
Play me off. Have the orchestra play me off. Okay.
So Katie's good.
Okay.
So half an hour. If you could take a couple more.
No, we're good.
You're good? Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm closing the door. You'll never know what's happening in here.
Top secret.
Okay. Let me get myself started here. All right. So, one thing that you may not know about me is that I'm a philosophy geek. When I went back to school as a grown-up to finish up my bachelor's degree, I took a lot of philosophy courses, and when I was done with my BA, I was trying to decide what to do for graduate school. And I was like, okay, do I do philosophy or do I do psychology? And I said, well, there's no such thing as a professional philosopher, right? I won't do that. Okay. I mean, you know, there's a lot of navel gazing there. Oh wait, I said my other choice was psychology. Okay, so I said, okay, I'm gonna go the psychology side. And because you can't make a living as a professional philosopher, right? That you can make a great living as a therapist. Yeah, I know. It wasn't one of my smartest choices, but I'm still glad I did it. Okay. So one of the things about DBT that sings to me is the dialectical philosophy. It makes so much sense to me. Now, the other thing that you don't know about me is that I was a fashion designer. For about a decade in the 80s, I was in the fashion industry. I went back and forth from New York to, I lived in LA. I went to New York the first week of every month. It was the 80s, so of course it was not fashion's proudest moment, but my skirt was short, my heels were high, my hair was big, and my shoulder pads were gigantic. Okay, so I was rocking it. At the very beginning of my time in the fashion design world, I was lucky enough to get to do an internship with a guy named William Trevia, and I don't know if any of you guys know who he is, but you'll know exactly who he is when I put this up.
Oh my goodness.
That's what Mr. Trevia was most well known for.
Did he do that shot?
Mr. Trevia designed that dress.
Oh, designed
He was
it.
Marilyn Monroe's favorite costume designer.
Really?
He did all the costumes for 7 Year Itch, of course, but also Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. What else? How to Marry a Millionaire. And I grew up watching these movies. I loved these movies. This is why I went into fashion design. So there was an internship available, and I was going to go for it. Okay. Now, you might think, okay, what the hell? Where's she going with this? So I'm going to take a little detour and talk about dialectical thinking for a second, and we'll get back to Marilyn. Okay, she's not used to being kept waiting, so. BPD going on there too. Okay. So we have in dialectical tension, dialectical synthesis, we have a statement of belief, right? We have a thesis, something that I believe is true. And then on the other side, we have something that is its polar opposite. It's antithesis, okay? And what we're looking at is that this is true. Well, if this is true, how on earth can that be true? This is true, right? Okay. So we get polarized, and we go back and forth with the idea of, no, I'm right. No, you're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong, right? And why does that happen? It's because we have an amygdala, right? And our amygdala wants safety. Right? our nervous system screams out at us to have the right answer because it'll keep us from getting eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? We are just built, our brainstem is not evolved enough to be able to hold two opposing viewpoints in our mind at the same time, okay? So we do have a prefrontal cortex though, and if we can calm that nervous system that's screaming for a right answer, we can come to this awesome belief that opposing views can both be true. You mean I get to have the wisdom of what my belief is, and I can actually calm my nervous system enough to go, there's something true in what you're saying too? Oh my gosh. And not just get confused by it, but actually ask ourselves, what are we missing from the negative truth here and the negative truth here? What else is missing so that we can come up with a way better solution, something that is bigger than this, bigger than that, and just works even better. And that is what we call dialectical synthesis. And it has the Barclay things because it's better than those two. Okay, so this is at the core of dialectical tension and our search for synthesis in DBT. Okay, back to our story. So I hear about this internship, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm just this little white trash girl from Downey. I don't know big fancy people like Mr. Trivia, and and I'm still living in my crappy apartment in Downey with my dad, but I'm gonna get this internship because I want it so bad. It's my ticket out of Downey, right? Now Downey's much different now. Downey's like really nice now, but it was the hood back then, and so I'm gonna get my ticket out of Downey. Okay, so I start even beyond the research that I'd already done on Mr. Trivia, because I watched those movies repeatedly, right? I knew those dresses by heart, but now I started to research what Mr. Trivia said about those dresses and about his theories of costume design, because I was gonna go in and whammo, okay? So, what movie? Does anybody know?
Something like it hot.
No, but close. I don't know if Mr. Trivia did the costumes for that one. But this is the 7-Year Itch. This is the movie where Marilyn stands above the subway grate,
yes,
and the dress lifts up, right? It is actually the highest, in auction, it's sold for the most of any other costume ever, including the ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz. Okay, this is an iconic dress. And so Mr. Trivia said when he was designing this dress that he had to combine polar opposites within this costume. He had to make Marilyn be angelic and seductive. He had to have her be naive and calculating. And he had to have her be a cool, clean girl in a dirty, dirty city. Okay. So I was really intrigued by that. I was like, you mean there's not always just one truth? I mean, you can be more than one thing. And remember, I'm this little white trash girl getting out of Downey, okay? I wanted to be somebody different than who I could be if I stayed there. And that clicked to me. That said to me, you can be more than one thing. This is awesome. And it was my first taste of dialectical thinking. It was my first taste that two opposing viewpoints can both be true. How am I doing time-wise?
You are doing fine. So that's about 8 minutes.
8 minutes, okay. So then one day I'm picking up, I got the job, by the way, 3-month internship. Woo! Now, the thing was I was so afraid of Mr. Trivia that I hardly ever talked to him. And he was really busy being Mr. Trivia. This was in the 80s when there were those big TV soap operas like Dynasty and Dallas, and they all hired on these really, really big-time costume designers. So Nolan Miller was doing Dynasty and putting turbans on Joan Collins, and Mr. Trivia was doing Dallas. okay? So Mr. Trevia was a busy fella, but he also scared the pants off of me. So he would just come through the workroom out every now and then, and I'm picking up pins or doing whatever, and he'd say, "Well, hello there, young lady," and I'd squeak at him. Okay. So one day, Mr. Saris, who was Mr. Trevia's business partner, said, "There's a charity fashion show over at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Mr. Trevia needs some help." Now, I think they were just being nice, because Mr. Trevia didn't need any help. There were dozens of people taking care of this, but I think they wanted to give the little girl a thrill, which I think was so sweet. And so Mr. Trevia threw me in his giant Cadillac convertible, and because this was the 80s when greed was good and ostentatious displays of wealth were prized, right? And we drove over to the Beverly Hills Hotel. And bless his heart, he kept trying to talk to me, and I just squeaked at him. And I had all these questions about not just this dress, but costume design and all of those things, and I didn't ask him any of them. Regret. But every time he did a charity fashion show of his ready-to-wear line, this dress would be shown at the very end, because that's what the ready-to-wear line, don't get me wrong, it was gorgeous. Everything Mr. Trevia made was gorgeous, but the treat at the end of the show was this dress, and I'd never seen the dress. Never actually seen it. I mean, it was kept. So, by that point, it was already such an important dress that it was at Mr. Trevia's house under lock and key. So it's in the trunk of the convertible Cadillac, okay? And we get to the hotel, and Mr. Trevia carries it in himself. And I'm going, I get to see the dress, I get to see the dress, I get to see the dress, I get to see the dress. I get to see the dress that holds two opposing viewpoints. That means you can be more than one thing. This is amazing. I'm so excited. And we get backstage, and the models are all there, and all the dressers are there, and I'm so excited just to be at a real fashion show too, because I hadn't been to one that wasn't like a school one or whatever. Okay. I'm gonna see the dress. And Mr. Trevia unzips the garment bag and he pulls it out, and I see the dress. And it was no big deal. And I was tremendously disappointed. And I thought, okay, it's just on a hanger. It's a halter dress. Halter dresses always look like crap on a hanger, right? They do, right? So I'm like, okay, it's just on a hanger, it's just on a hanger, just on a hanger. Okay, so I'm gonna get to watch the show. Okay, they let me stand in the back and watch the show. I'm gonna see it on an actual model, and it's gonna move, and it's gonna be awesome. Okay, so I hang back and, okay. Trying not to stick out like a sore thumb too much, because this is Beverly Hills charity crowd, and I'm just like, don't smell the white trash on me, okay? So the very end of the show, everything looks gorgeous. It really was an incredibly gifted designer, even just as a fashion designer, not a costume designer. So it's the end of the show, and here it comes. And it was just a girl in a pretty dress. And I thought, damn, what is missing here?
Marilyn.
I love dresses. I love dresses so much. I'm waiting for this. Why aren't I excited? What's missing? And I remembered, Mr. Trevia is a costume designer. The character is an integral part of this design. This dress is incomplete, right? Right now, it's just a cool, clean girl in a dirty, dirty city. Even that's not even present. It's angelic and it's sexy. I mean, it's pretty plunging, It's, it is what it is, but it's not, the dialectical tension is not resolved. So it's not exciting. So, you're with me here. What were we missing? Marilyn was missing, right? She's the synthesis. She is the what are we missing that creates the cool, amazing synthesis, right? And when later, after this was all done and everything, and at the time, I seriously was not, I was a little bit of a philosophy geek, but I didn't know about dialectical thinking or anything. Don't think I was 18 years old going, we must resolve the dialectic. It was later when I was thinking about starting to teach this to people of that in years. And I thought, oh, this is the way I can get people to understand this, right? So in DBT, this is what we're constantly doing, is attempting to resolve the dialectical tension and create a synthesis, okay? Because this being on the pole, right? What did Chris say? Keep your daughters off the pole. We're trying to keep ourselves and our clients off the pole, off the polarization, off the polar opposite, right? Because remember, like I said, our nervous systems scream for it, our nervous systems want it. But if we end up, well, we're in an election year. How polarized are we?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. We don't see any wisdom in the other, right? And we are, well, no, no, don't insert the joke here that I was going to go to. Okay. But there is wisdom in the other viewpoint. That was cool. There's wisdom in the other viewpoint, and we're missing it, right? And our clients miss that. They get polarized internally. I feel terrible today. I feel horrible today. This is the way it is and the way it's always going to be. So I need to stop this. I need to end this, and I need to kill myself. That's the worst sort of polarization, right? They also do it in their relationships, okay? I'm right, you're wrong. I'm desperately battling for survival here by proving that you are wrong. You, a person that I really, really care about. But hey, this is the Hunger Games. I'm fighting for survival, right? But so we also need to teach folks what we're missing on polarizing in that way and being able to calm and listen to the other point of view. So our clients do it. None of us do it, right? Ever get polarized and get stuck. Never, right? Okay, so, just apply it to other people. But we're human, right? So, in DBT, this is back to the design thing a little bit. This is a gorgeous design. It's a gorgeous design that's partly based on the rule of threes. That's a really important design element that's stolen from the golden mean. It's a simplified version of it, but I'm not going to design geek out on you here. Okay, so in DBT, this is our design. We have two main dialectics in DBT. We have acceptance, and we have change. What? Those are two opposing viewpoints. They can't both be true at the same time, right? Now let me illustrate those for a second. What we're looking at in DBT is where we do fully and completely accept that people are doing the best they can. And we all need to do better, try harder, and be more motivated. And this is the dance we're constantly creating. We're constantly trying to make this synthesis. So, anybody familiar with the modules of DBT? Oh, wait. We've also got two main strategies in DBT. We've got validation. Anybody here know what validation is? Oh, yeah. Some of you guys know, right? It's the idea that I can fully and completely attempt to understand your point of view, your feelings, your opinions, your beliefs without judgment and reflect those back to you. It doesn't mean I have to agree with you. It just means I have to attempt my best to understand, and it's not validation until you feel misunderstood. It's opposite day until you feel understood. Okay, we can validate anybody. It's hard because the central nervous system and the amygdala and the limbic system are all screaming, but get the right answer. And when you feel differently than me, that's dangerous. That signals my threat system. Stop that crap, right? But validation is one of our main strategies. It's acceptance based. It's not that I have to accept what you're saying. Not that I have to say, well, that's a great idea. Not that I want to have to approve of it. It just means I have to accept that that's your belief. Okay? While relentlessly pushing for change if that belief is harmful to you in some way. Make sense? Okay. So our other strategy in DBT is on the change side. It's problem solving. Okay? Because we just don't sit and go, this is how you feel, and it makes such perfect sense. Misery is your home, live there, all right? Okay. They want to relentlessly push for change, right? But people can't change until they feel accepted, right? Okay. So, and then we have these modules in DBT that we use. And on this acceptance side, there's mindfulness. So trendy. Okay, mindfulness is about accepting completely in the present moment what is happening without judgment on purpose. That's what mindfulness is. Can't use any of the other skills until you're using mindfulness. But it is an acceptance-based skill. Then also on the acceptance side is distress tolerance. And distress tolerance is about getting through bad situations without making things worse. If you think about the folks we see, they're on fire emotionally, right? They're like in a tsunami of emotion. These folks aren't exquisitely emotionally sensitive, right? And when you are on fire, do you care about anything else other than putting out the fire? Well, so do our folks, right? They'll do anything to make it stop. And that can result in generally what we call target behaviors, self-harm, suicide attempts, kabooms, blowing up at people, all kinds of behaviors, right? That end up fixing the problem in the short term, but keeping it around in the long term, and in fact making it worse, and keeping the chaos and the crisis going, okay? So we're teaching folks how to get through the moment without making it worse. And one set of strategies is crisis survival. And Katie's going to be focusing on some of those crisis survival skills and teaching those and how she teaches those. The other side is radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is about when you finally feel that release of, I fought it, I fought it, no it can't be, no it can't be, no it can't be. Yes, it is. I don't like it, but this is the way it is, at least for right now, maybe for forever in some cases, right? I haven't figured out how to raise people from the dead, okay? That's the ultimate form of radical acceptance. But also, all the time we have small disappointments that we need to radically accept. And if we fight them, what do? Sit in traffic, right? Radical acceptance to the max. Otherwise, you're suffering. You're in terrible misery. Why can't these people do this differently? And I could get a lot more colorful with my language, but I will not, okay? But radical acceptance is, this is how it is. I can decide whether to suffer, or I can bring myself down and know that this is the way it is. So, okay, acceptance side. Let's zip over to this change side. Emotional regulation is where we are looking at an emotion and determining whether it's justified by the current situation. And so we're checking the facts. That's a really CBT skill that's in DBT. DBT is a CBT-based anyway. Okay, so emotional regulation, we're checking the facts. We're deciding, is this justified? Okay, if it's not justified, then I'm going to work to change that emotion. I've got all kinds of skills to do that. The other thing is, maybe the emotion is justified by the circumstances, okay? But is it effective? Is it effective for me to, I just won the lottery, woo, go into a funeral? You know, the emotion's not effective, right? So I have to change the emotion in order to keep people in my life, right? Okay, and we do that through a skill called opposite action. You know, anytime we have an emotion, there's a hardwired biological action urge associated with the emotion, right? If I feel angry, right, I'm hardwired to verbally or physically attack, right? That's just the way it works, okay? Not a moral thing, it's just the way we're built, okay? And if I'm using mindfulness, okay, and then using a little distress tolerance to bring myself down, then I can mindfully engage in opposite action. So, irritated with my husband, right? And my goal, my life goal with my husband is not to show him that I'm irritated with him all the time, to teach him a lesson and show that to my little boy, right? Oh, good, your daddy's an idiot. This is our goal as people, right? No, we feel irritation, we feel anger, but our goal is not necessarily to express it, because ultimately that doesn't, now, I'm not saying bottle it all up, okay? But I'm saying that in certain situations, maybe it's not that important. So, or it's not effective for our goals at that time. So we do opposite action. And I do the exact opposite of what I want to do. So I may want to go, seriously, dude, right? Instead, I'll gently avoid. Hey, well, I want to talk about that in a bit, till I can bring myself down. Or I might even do something nice. And give him a hug and get reminded of why I love this man. Right? Okay. So that's emotional regulation. Final module here is interpersonal effectiveness. This is the one that appeals to the supervillain in me. And it is getting what I want or saying no to people while keeping their self-respect, keeping my self-respect and the relationship. This is awesome. Because I can learn these skills, I can get people to do what I want, and they'll want to do it. It's really amazing. Yeah. It doesn't always work, because sometimes the environment is more powerful than us, but they're great skills to have on hand. So you see how they all balance each other out, and we're constantly switching between skills. I talk about DBT. When people first come into our program, I say, we are going to be throwing all these terms at you, and you're going to feel like you walked into a Spanish immersion class, and none of it makes sense. Every now and then you go, hola, I know that word, right? But it's just going to be like, and you kind of have to just sit in it and take it in. And eventually, you're going to think in DBT. And when maybe you'll even dream in DBT. And then you got it. You're fluent. You've got the language. So, I want to show you one more dialectical synthesis that is a part of DBT, because they keep repeating these threes. I love the rule of threes. Okay, and that is, again, two polar opposites that are both true at the same time. We've got reasonable mind and we've got emotion mind. Reasonable mind is just the facts. Follow the protocol. Don't vary. Do as I say. Emotion mind is, give me more, give me more, give me more. Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Okay? These both, being emotional is great. It's when emotion mind takes over and nothing else is present, is when we're in trouble. Being reasonable is great, but when it takes over completely and I don't understand these human emotions, and if you could just get yourself to relax, everything would be, oh my God, my husband's accent is creeping in. My husband's very reasonable mind person. Okay, so it's that idea that we don't mix in. Wise mind is the synthesis. It's the Marilyn, okay? Because wise mind is taking emotion mind, reasonable mind, mixing them up, blending them together, but adding that something more. Intuition, wisdom, that gut feeling, that sense of what's right. Okay? So that's my other dialectical synthesis. So here's my challenge to you. These techniques are scary to use, but I think that if we can use them ourselves, if we can use them with our loved ones, teach them to our loved ones, teach them to our clients, we can help reduce suffering in ourselves, them, and the world in general. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Can I have a session afterwards?